Right. So in this video, let's see what I mean by a flowchart, why to draw the flowcharts. Okay, then let's get started. So let me share the video. Okay, so I'm opening the PPT here, right? So, okay, so firstly, flowchart, in the previous session, we have seen what I mean by an algorithm. Algorithm is a textual representation of how to solve the problem in terms of steps. So we can write everything in terms of textual. Only the thing that is restricted there is that it should be written in terms of steps, and we said it will be it should not be ambiguous, right? Anyway, writing the big algorithms in terms of textual would be difficult, and even in order to understand everything in terms of textual would be bit difficult. So that is the reason why the engineers have came up with a new thing that is called as a flowchart. So let us see what I mean by the flowcharts. It is a pictorial representation of in terms of steps uh, wherein we can solve the problem. So this flowchart is a visual representation. So here we'll be having certain symbols in order to represent like what is the inputs, outputs, what is the decision making and all. So let us see that symbols. So these are the symbols, and these are the universal symbols. So we cannot replace one symbol with another symbol, or we cannot impart any of the other symbol in place of these symbols. So firstly, when it comes to the vowel denotes for the start and stop of the program, or else like begin or the end for the program. Parallelogram denotes the input operation. So wherever there is an input, then we'll be going with the parallelogram. For example, when it comes to the C programming, printf or getAs or get character, these sort of functions, wherein should be imparted into this particular parallelogram, because that gives the input to our program. Next one is the rectangle. Rectangle will be using wherever we will be having the calculation statements. So where we will be having the expressions, logicals, there we will be writing the expressions inside this particular rectangle box. Okay, the next one is the diamond, which is called as a decision box. So decision box will be having one flow in, but two flow outs. One will be true and one will be false. So remember that compulsory the decision box should have two outgoing links. One should be true and one should be false. So here inside will be having the question whether it is this true or whether it is a false. So according to the expression that is mentioned inside that particular decision box will be going either towards a true or either towards a false. Next one is the hybrid, denotes an output operation. Either I can use this hybrid kind of representation, or even we can use once again the parallelogram in order to indicate the output operation even. So for the both input and output, we can use a parallelogram, or even we can use a hybrid in order to simply differentiate between the input and output. Next one, flow line. This is an arrowed flow line where it indicates where it is flowing in. That is in which direction the next step has to be taken. Remember, never it should have an undirected one. So undirected one, it's not going to give you any clarity in which direction it is flowing. So compulsory, the direction should be mentioned in the flow chart. Okay, now let us see the examples of the flowchart. So there are examples, two examples here that is for the same purpose, that is swapping of the two numbers. So let us see first this left hand side one, that is start read number one and number two. So here we are reading the two numbers. Let's assume number one is 10, number two is 20. So first inside the temp I am placing the number one, that is a 10, then num2 into the num1, therefore num1 will be losing its value, that is a 10, and the new value, that is a 20, will be assigned to the num1. The next temp, which is having the 10, now we will be assigning to the num2. So num2 will be losing its previous value, that is a 20, and the new value will be assigned to the num2, that is the 10. So therefore now the num1 has become 20 and num2 has become the 10. Therefore print number one and number two, that is the like number one 20 and the number two is a 10, then stop. This is using the temporary variable. Now let us see, like, without using this temporary variable, how to like swap two numbers. So here also start read number one and number two. So let's assume once again this is 10, this is 20. Then now what we'll be doing is number one equals to num1 plus num2, that is 10 plus 20. 30 will be assigned to the num1 now. So num1 is 30 now. Num2 equals to number num1 minus num2, that is currently num1 is 30. 30 minus 20, that becomes 10. So 10 will be assigned to the num2. Then so currently term2 is 10. Then next num1, which is still 30. 30 minus num2, that is the 20. So sorry, num2 is 10. So 30 minus 10, that becomes 20. 20 will be assigned to the num1. So therefore num1 has become 20 and num2 has become 10. So print the values of number one and number two and then stop. So this is how will be the flow. So now let us see another flow chart where we are having the decision. So here we will this flow chart is to find out the greatest of the three numbers. So let's see here, input A, B, and C. So here now if the A is greater than B, first I'll be checking whether A is greater than B. Let's assume if A is greater than B, then I need to check whether A is greater than C. Now if this condition is false, if this condition is false, then it will be going to this one, that is output C. Okay, now the question is, when A is greater than C is false, is it directly we can print output as C, or do we have to check whether C is greater than B? No, it's not required, right? Because already we reached here from here itself, that is A was greater than B, that is the reason why we reached here. Now when the A is less than C, that indicates clearly that C is greater than B, therefore the output will be C. Now similarly, if this is S, that is A is greater than C, if it is yes, then the output will be A, then stop. Similarly, now here if A is greater than B, if it is false, then I need to check whether B is also greater than the C. If B is also greater than the C, then if it is yes, then output will be B and stop. Similarly, if B is greater than A is greater than B, if it is false, and B is greater than C is also false, that indicates that C is also greater than the A. Therefore, it will be going to the no, that is output will be C, then stop. So this is how the decisions will be doing. So always you can find for any decision box, there will be one input line and there will be two output lines. One input, two outputs. One input and two output lines. Okay, right. So this is how is the flowchart. So now let us see the advantages and limitations of the flowchart. The first one is the flowchart is an important aid in developing the algorithm itself. That is, algorithm is a textual. Here we are converting that one into the pictorial representation. Easier to understand than a program itself. Yes, of course, because program will be completely in the syntactical format of a particular programming language. But when it comes to the flow chart, it can be written in terms of textual, and each and every symbol there, it indicates like what it is, and inside the text indicates like what it is doing and where it is flowing, independent of any particular programming language. So irrespective of whatever might be the language that I may develop later, but first the flowchart can be written in textual format of vocal language, that is it can be in English. Proper documentation, yes, these are generally used in the documentations, so that it gives the clear idea of how the flow is of the problem state in order to reach to the solution. uh, Proper debugging, so debugging becomes easier, even human can do debugging by himself, line by line. Right, easy and clear representation, so whenever it is having specific symbols, so it gives you clear clarity, and wherever there are decision makings, loopings and all, so this is going to give you the clear cut idea of how to solve the problem. But there are certain limitations, so let us see that one even, that is complex logic is difficult to be represented. Of course, very complex logics, there will be certain times where it will be pretty difficult in order to represent. Drawing a time consuming. Yeah, drawing is obviously the time consuming, because if it is a big project, then it is going to take a very long time, because you know, the statement where I'll be reaching, I'm from there I may reach to some other statement, wherein it might be present in some other place. So I need to use the connectors there in order to connect these statements. So drawing is going to take a lot of time when it comes to the big projects. So technical details are hidden, of course, whenever we are writing the logic simply inside the rectangle box. So we are not talking anything related to the technical details. Okay, so that is the flowchart. Uh, so right, thank you. That is uh, the thing of this video. Right, thank you.